this. Now, this exercise works for any project or situation and any 4 things you choose. The key to this exercise, as with many other exercises you do intuitively, is not to think too much. Simply look at the object and start saying what it's telling you. There are at least 2 variations on this exercise. First, close your eyes and simply tell yourself what situation you want insight on. Then open your eyes and let your eyes settle on the first thing you see. Then ask yourself what this thing can tell you about the situation you're interested in. Another way of doing this exercise is to flip through a magazine. Begin by telling yourself what situation you're interested in. For example, why your group isn't functioning as a team. Then begin flipping through a magazine, and you will see pictures which represent both your team's current and your desired environment, and your way of being at work. The picture may be one of people, animals, scenes of nature, cartoon characters, furniture. Your first response of the picture will reflect your intuition, that is, your subconscious, what you know in your heart to be true right now. So be open to your intuition and don't restrict what it can tell you. The third activity is related to the previous one, but in this case it offers specific activities to enhance your ability to think in each of your 4 brain quadrants. This exercise is thus called whole brain thinking. Because of our time constraint, we'll focus only on the 2 intuitive quadrants. First, let's consider the lower right quadrant, the emotional part of the brain, and where intuition is applied to interpersonal relations. Then we'll consider the upper right hemisphere, where intuition is applied to new, perhaps offbeat, as yet unheard of ideas, inventions, innovations, and organizations. For enhancing your intuition in the limbic system, that is the lower right quadrant, listen to others without interrupting. Listen for others' greatness and contributions. Say thank you or otherwise acknowledge others. Listen to your favorite music. Dance without moving your feet. For enhancing intuition in the neocortex, the upper right quadrant, meditate daily. Create a personal logo. Play with some clay. Daydream for a few minutes. Imagine yourself and or your organization in the year 2010. Drive or walk home using a new route, that is, get out of your routines. Take a risk and do something unusual. Ask why and come up with a different answer. And finally, question reality. Creativity and intuition can be called upon at any time of the day or night in as many ways as there are people. What works best? Anything. Be attentive to what is happening within you. A physical sense of weakness, weariness, or tension while you are physically present with someone or in some place may be your intuition's way of signaling caution. Emotionally, you may pick up on the vibes of someone or some place. Intuition is often called a gut feeling because the gut area of the human body is very sensitive to the environment, especially to danger. The gut is the area just below where your ribs come together. Meditation is a good catalyst for intuition because meditation is a non-analytical thinking process that quiets the mind and makes it more receptive and less critical. Meditating is very easy to learn and practice. Intuition is activated when you are engaged in intense and focused work. Many scientists find that answers to questions come instantaneously or intuitively after they've been intensely engaged in their work for some time, sometimes years. This instantaneous answer, this sudden and unexpected state of illumination about a problem is the eureka experience. Illumination comes from knowing the details of your field of expertise and allowing your intuition to work with this large field of information. The more you know, the more information your intuition has to work with in the subconscious, and the more likely that it will be to bring to your attention a truly unique perspective. Melvin Calvin won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 1961 as a result of many years of research and the Eureka experience. Calvin was sitting in his car when all of a sudden he realized the missing piece to his research on photosynthesis. Tor Nurtranders, author of The User Illusion, concludes that, quote, "We have to face the fact that we are far more than we believe ourselves to be, that we have far more resources than we perceive, that we leave our mark on more of the world than we notice," end of quote. To conclude, intuition is a very efficient resource. Through it you can express the knowledge you've accumulated over the years through your experiences. Most of what you've experienced remains unconscious, unexpressed, unutilized. However, it is available to each of you. Being creative, having and expressing a vision requires going beyond what you are conscious of. This means going beyond analytical thinking. It means using your intuition. I encourage you to take another step in this direction.
I'm ready. Thank you, Dr. Frantz. Let us continue with the second question and answer session. Our first question is from Mexico. It is from El Centro Universitario de Tijuana in the Mexicali campus in Mexicali, Baja California, Mexico.
How can a leader provoke changes based on his intuition and involving at the same time people who don't believe in these kinds of intangible facts, or not invisible things?
Dr. Frantz?
Well, I think one of the things that the leader's intuition can do is to help him or her understand the obstacles that others have put in their way for creative change. I think that it's at least one thing is to understand how to get other people off the dime, as we say.
Okay, our next question is from Panama. It is from La Universidad Tecnológica de Panamá in Panama City, Panama.
Esta es la pregunta. This is the question. The marginal groups of our country, people who have very poor practicality filters, they can also perhaps contribute creative schemes that can also be used in a valid and can be taken advantage of by our cultural or economic system. The poor.
In a way, these groups that you're describing have an enormous amount to contribute because they don't have a lot of those filters. This is not to compare poor adults with children. It's not to compare them. But a lot of corporations, when they're doing brainstorming, actually bring into the process groups of children and ask them their opinions about how they would do things. And it's remarkable the answers that they get from people who are not already committed to certain versions of reality.
Thank you. Our next question is also from Mexico. It is from the Instituto Tecnológico de León in the city of León, the state of Guanajuato, in Mexico.
Good afternoon. Well, my question is the following. How far can you take the vision in a place where there is a lot of competition between people who are... how can we do this when we're walking toward a globalized world?
Go ahead, Dr. Bishop.
Yes, that's a very good question. Some people believe that visioning is something extra, and I don't think it is at all. If you think of the visionaries in your life or in history, they were not doing their job and on the side doing their vision. They used every minute of the day, every resource available to them to promote the vision. The vision is something which infuses and it permeates one's life. It's not something that one does separately. So when one is dealing with the global economy, pursuing the vision. When talking about technology, pursuing the vision. Making out budgets, hiring people. All of those things need to be done in light of pursuing people's visions, because that's the time and the resources that we have.
The next question is in English. It's from Brazil. It is from O Serviço Nacional de Aprendizagem Comercial in the city of Porto Alegre, in the state of Rio Grande do Sul, in Brazil.
Hello. How I can use the intuition in the university curriculum in administration courses?
Dr. Frantz, university curriculum and the use of intuition.
It's not easy. It's not easy because everyone in universities is committed to a certain field of expertise, and nobody is committed to intuition. So it's not easy, but it has to be done. It needs to be done because we're talking about one half of the brain. And what I would advise for anybody who's attempting to do this is just to remember that your intuition is an integral part of your life, and you need to bring your entire life with you to work. The barrier you're facing is that there is no Ph.D. in intuition, and so you're talking outside of everybody's field of expertise.
Our next question is from Panama. It is from La Universidad Tecnológica de Panamá in Panama City, Panama.
The question is the following. It is mentioned always to how to manage changes in an organization. But how can you do that when the organization doesn't have a clear vision and the personnel doesn't accept that change? So what do you do in those cases?
Mr. Hoffmann.
So I think there's several things. First of all, is the vision actually clear? Has the leadership engaged the organization so that they actually know what the vision is? Secondly, if people find value, as Peter said earlier, find value in the vision being implemented, they in fact will put their energies behind it. So it's assisting them in finding value. I think that we all experience change whether we want to or not. Change is going to occur around us. And so then it's how do we individually respond to that, and can we translate that into something that becomes meaningful? One of the challenges that leaders have is that leaders in many times have thought about a process, thought about something, and they've actually gone through the change, and they become cheerleaders of the change, and that's not exactly where the people are. So they're not actually communicating with the people to help them through their process of discovery to arrive at the value of change and then make the appropriate modifications.
Thank you. I think this will be our last question. It's from Mexico. It is from La Universidad Autónoma de Guadalajara in the city of Guadalajara in the state of Jalisco, Mexico.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. First I want to make a statement. Since all vision and visionaries tend to threaten our community of beliefs, this tends to feed our attitudes, which harden into traditions and culture. But would you exploit more how we may overcome such attitudes, which serve as impediments to change?
Okay, Dr. Bishop, we have about 30 seconds left.
That's a very good question. The essential quality of the vision is that it needs to be more attractive than the status quo. If the vision does provide people a direction, something that they indeed want to work for, commit to, and gives meaning to their life, then it will successfully challenge the status quo. If it, however, it is someone else's vision and not theirs, or it is not sufficiently attractive, then it will be ineffective in challenging the status quo. But you've picked up on the essential quality. It is a risk, and it does create turbulence. If that risk is worth it, the vision will be successful. If it's not a valid vision that's shared by everyone involved, then it will not be successful in challenging the status quo.
Thank you for your excellent questions, but we've run out of time. Thank you again, Dr. Bishop, Dr. Hoffmann, Dr. Frantz. We hope that you have enjoyed participating in this video conference. We will continue transmitting programs on the latest in global competitiveness. We invite you to participate in our next program on October 21st, 1999, entitled Systemic Management of Opportunity and Conflict, The Two Faces of Globalization. For additional information on the International Training Center's programs for this coming year, please consult your participants' manual, where you will find the dates and specific topics for each program. Also, if you are interested in participating in training programs, which will be offered by the International Training Center, please contact the Center by letter, phone, fax, or email. On behalf of all of us who collaborate with the International Training Center, I thank you for your participation and interest in today's program. Thank you, and see you again soon.